Hey, everybody, welcome to the Maple Syrup Show. I am Sen, that is Hafiz, and over here we have our special guest, Victor. Victor, how are you?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Doing pretty
well?
good.
Well,
Excited to have you
so
on.
yeah, Victor, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, I'm Victor. I just closed out a Kickstarter for my game called Hover. It is a brutal game of hummingbirds. I'm also one of the co-founders of Launchboom. If you are like a game creator, you've probably heard of us. We help people launch Kickstarter campaigns across the board, games, not games, whatever. But yeah, that's what I do. I got two kids. They run crazy. You might hear them. Maybe it's the witching hour right now where I'm at. So we'll see.
What do
But
you mean? It's only 6 o'clock where you're at. That's the witching hour?
yeah, do you know about the witching hour for kids? It's
No, but
I
like
mean,
you have to tell us about this now. Yeah.
wait, yeah. If okay, every parent knows this. It's like the time when the sun sets is like this time when the kids go crazy. It's like not yet bedtime. It's supposed to be dinner time. They want to play, they want to do all these things, but they're not going down. They're not listening to you, but they're always tired and they're hungry, and it's just insane. So yeah, that's the time right now that we've chosen to do this. So we shall
oh, I
see.
see.
My wife is
Yeah.
holding down the fort, so you got to thank her after this.
Yeah, we will. It's funny, my kids were never like that. So, and somehow they
Oh,
they they got to be old, so they're happy, well-adjusted adults now. And so, but I don't remember. Maybe it's just like the old age that was like 24 years ago. So who knows? A long
just
time ago.
like
How old are your
just
kids?
left her memory. I
Yeah.
got a 1 year old and I got a 6 year old. So
Well, I mean
wow,
that might be
funny.
the difference.
It might be that, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe it'll just fade away from memory. I'm hoping that it does. It's
Yeah.
it's hard.
Copious amounts of like life and head trauma, and that then you don't remember it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. The lack
So
of
so
sleep
Victor,
helps a lot too.
yeah, definitely. Tell us, Victor, what is your connection to gaming? How did you get into games? Why games? Where did this all come from?
Yeah, man, what a question. Let's see. I've always loved games. Okay, I'm gonna let's go back. Let's start when I was born. No, I think okay, my first exposure to the tabletop realm was in middle school. I had a teacher opened up like a strategy games kind of elective thing, and that's where I got introduced to Catan and Cosmic Encounter. Those are like the two games he introduced us to. Fell in love with both, and then just never touched it afterwards until probably college. I think there was like some points where it's like we're playing Pokemon, and then that got banned at the school. Then we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and then that got banned at the school. And then Magic was always banned at the school, and so we tried to make our own cards. And then the teachers came and took away our cards, and that was a whole journey. Fast forward to college, I'm playing games. The friends are bringing back all these games. I was like, this looks awesome, like Catan again, and then Dominion. I'm like, oh, this is great, and then bringing in some stuff that I haven't heard about. And I think that's when when I was just graduating college, that was when there was this huge Kickstarter boom. Like Kickstarter had just started to take off, and we had started. I was a film major, and I was in San Diego. There's not a lot of film gigs down here, so I had a choice to move up to LA or find my own gigs down here. I chose the latter because the industry was not what I had thought it was going to be. So did that, did a digital, like started digital marketing, and then that's how I got into Kickstarter stuff. So I helped a friend launch his Kickstarter, and then from that journey of helping my friend launch Kickstarters, we started to launch more and more, and then that's led to the birth of Launchboom. And with the birth of Launchboom and all that, then tabletop games started to come back into my life, because they're like tied so closely together, and it like yeah, just the journey of that going, it got to a place where we eventually helped launch a game called Botany, and, like raised $1 million and was a huge hit. And from there, we're like, hey, maybe we should make a games focused program. And then that's when I was like, me, please, I will take that because I had a roommate who had a wall full of games, and like we only played like maybe 10% of them. But it was like we shared a house, and one wall of the house was dedicated towards games. and I always love playing games with him, with my friends. And so when this opportunity came up, I was like, yes, please, I want to like just completely take over this. And since then, I've been helping out a lot of different creators. Helped a
Help
few
me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
helped oh my gosh, like I can't believe his name is slipping my mind right now. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah, with the games that you made, Sen.
Yeah. That's right.
Amazing games, yeah.
Thank you.
And then also a bunch of other creators, both big and small, new and old. And it's been a lot of
We're
fun.
the old ones.
Yeah. That'd be us. We claim that
Yeah.
title.
Yeah, it
Uh,
has been a lot of fun. So that's been my journey with games. In that process, I decided to make my own game as well. I was like,
yeah.
why not? And now I could see why not. There's a large reason to not. But I didn't know that at that time, so I just went full in. So here I am now.
That is fascinating that even with as much experience on like, the from the Launchboom side, that you still didn't recognize necessarily like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Right?
Right?
It's like,
That's
oh.
fascinating. Oh, okay. So let's talk about Launchboom as a company before we get into Ibis T Games. So Launchboom as a company, we being, egocentric, myopic people, as most humans are, we only think about Launchboom in the sense of like, oh, Launchboom, and tabletop, hand in hand, they go together. But was Launchboom started with tabletop games, or was it started with a different product category?
Yeah, so we started on the tech and design side. So going
Right,
back to when we first started, that first campaign we launched was for my friend's product called EcoCube. It was an aquaponics kit. It was before aquaponics was like well known.
right,
He made a fish tank that basically sustained itself with a plant on top that filtered water.
right.
And so we started doing more stuff like that, a lot of tech and design stuff, and we became kind of this crowdfunding agency where we help people launch their campaigns. Almost all of them were tech and design products.
Hmm.
Um, the agency cost a lot of money. We did everything. We designed their whole landing page. Like we
Right,
designed everything, campaign page, landing page, all the website stuff. This is before we had like our own builder that we created. We actually built it because of this. There was a lot of stuff where we had to self build in that process. Then we had to develop our own strategies a lot because there wasn't a lot of people doing this from beginning to end. We
hmm,
made the videos, we shot the photos. There was like a whole studio that I was managing to
right.
shoot the videos,
Well,
to
you
shoot
were a
all the
film
photos and all
major. I
that
mean, come
stuff.
on.
Yeah, so I was like, come on, like put it to use. But
Right?
yeah, it got really expensive. Like long
Yeah,
story short, it got really expensive. So the only people that could afford us were larger like companies
yeah,
or people with a lot of funding. And so games people couldn't afford us. We had a few games come up to us, and it was out of the price range for
right,
what it needed to be. And so that's when we decided to pivot to a consulting model where we would kind of show you, we learned all the things, we made all the mistakes. Okay, we built a system. Here's the system. You could use it, and then we'll kind of walk you through that process.
right.
And with that, now we can make it more affordable for games. And then that's how we got Dusty from Botany to come in and then eventually build out the games program from there.
Right. Yeah. And Dusty and his wife have been on the show um, to talk about that as well, which is cool because it comes full circle. So, in the story of Launchboom, so when was Launchboom started?
So the first campaign we launched was in 2013. Launchboom
Okay, so
didn't
it's been a
officially.
while.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Official start of Launchboom when we started calling ourselves Launchboom was around 2015.
Okay. And so you were running campaigns, and you were doing like from start to finish, like the landing pages, the videos, setting up all the graphic design, all this kind of stuff. And
Everything.
now that you've pivoted to more of a consultation model where you will provide maybe the tools, but you're not doing the content necessarily. Um, what what does that entail now? What will you do? What won't you do? What is up to the designer or the publishers to take care of, and what does Launchboom bring to the mix now?
Yeah, great question. So right now we're actually starting to reintegrate some of the like do for you systems. So
Mm,
in the past it was like here's how you do everything. Here are templates that you can use. Here we created a easy to use funnel builder to go through our entire funnel. where it's just kind of plug and shove. You just type in the words and then you put in the images. Like in terms of like setting up your Facebook pixel, setting up the email automations and stuff, most of that is just click a button and you're connected with the right platforms.
Right.
Now that was where the program was, now it's starting to evolve to a place where we can start helping you draft your initial landing page copy, ad copy, email copy. But then from there, like in terms of running the ads, like we will kind of show you how to do that. We'll give you feedback on that as well. You just check in with us and we'll walk you through that and you learn that process, which is really important because if you're looking to make this a business, you will need to learn how to do that or at least understand what you're doing. Because even if you're hiring someone else, they could just tell you whatever numbers and you're like, oh, cool. But now that you go through this, you at least know like whether or not they're like BSing you or not. So we felt that was still really important, but now we're starting to enter back into the field where, hey, let's see if we can find ways to still maintain the price point that we have, maybe increase it a little bit or add a few more incentives, but do more of the stuff for our creators. So that's something we're exploring right now. But the base program is like, here are templates, here's a system, here's a funnel builder, and here's us if you ever need us, and we'll check in with you. Like we have these check-ins, but then if you ever want to just break through that and just reach out to us and be like, hey, I got a question. Hey, you want to check this? We're here for you.
In fact, that's cool. How we got you on the show. And just reached out and like, Victor, I need your help on the show this evening. It's interesting that it started with tech and then it moved to board games. Was that just a one-for-one transfer over? Like, what did you have to shift and change working with a different kind of product?
Yeah, I think honestly, the starting in tech gave us a little bit of an edge because the tech and design side was a lot more difficult. With tabletop, there wasn't this strong following, there wasn't this strong loyalty and community that was like all for crowdfunding and Kickstarter. So even like the organic traffic for tech and design was a lot lower. We had to focus a lot of our efforts on really creating those communities, creating that interest before we launched, because if we didn't, it really would be a huge flop. So a lot of the practices we put into that, we took from direct to consumer marketing and then applied it to crowdfunding, tweaked it to what we need to do. And then when we shifted over to the game side of things, everything transferred. D2C marketing is the same nonetheless. You're selling a product. It's a physical product. It's online. You're using Facebook ads or whatever, and you're leading to a landing page. The funnel is exactly the same. Our biggest concern was whether or not the community would respond in a similar way to like kind of our methodology. So we use something called a dollar reservation funnel. It's not necessary. Like we found alternative like strategies, especially specifically for tabletop games, because I know that like Jay had some lashback against that. Some people
that was the big weird one. Like when it was first done with Duxomnium, their demographic was slightly outside of core hobby, right? And so they didn't get the backlash. And then all the games people were like, wait a minute, you want what for what? Because games people are very rules lawyery, right? And they're like, they understand subtly, whether they know it or not, they kind of understand the idea of, what's the ROI on this? What's the cost benefit? What's the action economy of this system that you're trying to suck me into? And so I think some of them felt very like, well, I mean, whether they felt it rightly or wrongly, it was a question that they had, like, what is going on here with this thing that you're trying to do to us? Like, this seems weird.
I think people
too. Those copycats that did it without the system that you guys had in place, because even the wording you have right now is, this is refundable. This is just like, if you want to do it, you can do it. We're not putting a gun to your head or anything like that. And then other people came in like, this is working. And so we're going to do it, but they didn't have the thinking behind it. Have you found with how successful Launchboom has been that you now actually have to face the consequences of copycats?
Oh, 100%. It's always been like that. I'm going to like rewind a little bit and then I'll answer that question as well. So in terms of the transfer over, so the dollar reservation was one of the big questions. Will it work for the games community? It worked for a good part, there is that lashback thing. I will address that. But a lot of the things that we did align well and did transfer over. The things that we had to change was maybe some of the offers and how we position like reward tiers and stuff like that, because there are multiple reward tiers on that, like for games, like you have base, deluxe, whatever, like all in. Whereas on the tech and design side, you just have your single product. That's it. In terms of your question, Hafiz, it was the
backlash for people copying.
Backlash, people copying. So let's go first with copying. We have always had copycats. In fact, some of our top competitors are copycatters. There is a company, actually, you said, yeah, some of our top competitors have copied our system. There's a company called the Crowdfunding Formula that was created. They actually had, when they started, they're like, hey, you guys really inspired us. Like, we're taking your system. And now they're one of our biggest competitors on the tech and design side. Like,
so weird.
That's our system. It works really well. And then I think in terms of and then there are people that started using our system. We wrote a book. We were like, this is our system. Here, like, there's the book. And you could read it. You could use it. We have had plenty of people use that without needing like to actually hire us. And there are some people that do it and they change some of the things that we recommend. So one of them, like we had a situation, and this is when the backlash really started coming in, where they put down the dollar reservation and they're like, this is non-refundable, this is exclusive, and all those things are just like big red flags for the gaming community. And that led to a lot of backlash, but it was also like, hey, the whole point, I think there was a misunderstanding of what the dollar reservation's point was. Because I think in the past with Kickstarter, especially in the gaming community, with gaming crowdfunding with gaming, there was a lot of emphasis on exclusivity. There's a lot of emphasis on this bonus or this and that to get that FOMO going on. And so they assumed that the dollar reservation was just an extension of that. That's not the point of the dollar reservation. The whole point of dollar reservation is to qualify for purchase intent. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means it's are the people giving you their email actually committed to buying your game? Because on the tech and design side, we did the whole email thing. Just collect the emails, do all this stuff. They didn't have followers back then, but we did all that stuff. And we would get like 10,000 emails, 20,000 emails, great cost per leads, etc. Launch the campaign, and then nothing. Complete flop. It's like, wait, we spent a lot of money to get those emails. Each one of those emails cost us $1, which is really good, dollar CPL, but doesn't mean anything if none of that turns into revenue. It doesn't turn into actual backers. And so we needed to find a way to see if the emails we were getting were actually serious. And some people do that through open rates, but that's also not very telling. And some people don't open their emails. Like, that's just what they're willing to commit. And
that's
so
me. I never open my emails.
But like, if we know, like, this thing is going to cost $39, like, you put down $1 right now, we'll give you something just a little bit extra. Like, it's meaningless to anyone that would not buy the product, but it's something that's a no-brainer for anyone that's like, yeah, I'm going to give you $39 anyways. And so what we're trying to do is measure that purchase intent. It's not necessarily like you're never going to get this thing again. It's not necessarily like we want your money right now. It's just to say, yo, we're going to launch in a few months. We don't know who you are. This is through the internet. We don't know how committed you are. And so here's just a little offer. It's only $1. I can't even buy water here for $1 where I'm at. It's only $1. It's going to probably cost us more to deliver this to you, but like, it's something special for that early commitment. And we know on our side that we now have, like, that you're going to buy. We know how many people are probably going to buy, much more predictable stuff. And so with that, we can actually measure a very predictable, accurate return on ad spend during pre-launch, which previously not possible.
Right. And it's interesting. Yeah. So I was trying to explain this to lots of people. They didn't buy it. But I was trying to explain it, probably because I'm not you, so I wasn't explaining it well. But I'm like, they just want to get a sense of how many people are in before the campaign launches so that they have an idea of how much to spend on the rest of the campaign, and people just weren't getting it, and they were like, well, it's this and this. I said, no, and you read the print right here, it says you're not committed to buy this, and then, well, it's an exclusive thing that nobody else will get. It's like, that's not what they're saying. Anyways, it's a lot of
Yeah.
misinformation, and
Yeah.
maybe it's true that Hafiz, at the same time, other companies were like seeing that and jumping on it, and people were like conflating different companies, what's the words, strategies towards what looked the same, that whole first dollar buy-in or whatever. um and I the value proposition is pretty simple, right? It's like, you give me $1, I give you this thing that costs more than $1, and I get your email. That's it.
Yeah. I think people feel like they're being tricked in some way. Like, this seems too good to be true.
That may be it
And
too, right?
and there's just people out there that get irrationally angry about this when really it's like, hey, this is expensive. We just want to know, and as a thank you, here's your thing. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about Dirk at all, but I feel like there's a gentleman, and now if you've gotten dirked, it's a good sign that you're probably doing well. I'll throw it to you, Victor.
Yeah, there's a interesting gentleman out there in the webs. His name is Dirk, and he likes to email our clients a lot when he gets an ad from one of them. And he basically hates the dollar reservation. He thinks it's the worst thing in the world. It's the epitome of evil. I don't know, but the idea is that now it's gotten to a point where it's like, hey, if you've been dirked, if you got that email from Dirk, you've got success. You got enough reach that you've reached
you got
Dirk.
visibility, right?
You've got enough
It's a good
visibility that
litmus
Dirk has
test now.
seen you, and that he has enough energy to go and email you. That's like a point of victory. I didn't get Dirk. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like,
there's still time.
Hover didn't get Dirked?
Hover did not get Dirked. So yeah, maybe I should have pushed a little harder to get Dirked.
You have late pledges. It might still happen.
It might still happen, yeah.
This is actually reminding me of a post that came up earlier today. Sen, you commented on it in the Board Game Design Lab. Adam from Wales did a video about how to lose money being a board game designer. And he was asking people just to share what are different things that are going to lead indie designers, first-time publishers, or maybe even not first-time publishers, into losing money. And it sounds like that's a thought that you and the team have been thinking about, and the dollar reservation is a way to kind of hedge your bets and get a good sense of, will this work or will this not work? You recently launched your own game. We'll talk about that in a moment. Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel that tension right before you were going to launch? Like, oh, I have no idea how this is going to do. Or did you feel a sense of comfort because you're like, I know I have this many people who've given me the dollar?
So the tension came before I started my ads, because the beauty of the system is that it can tell you the demand for your game before you launch. That's kind of it's one of the points of it. Is this is your demand of actual purchasers. This is what the market's kind of giving you as feedback right now. What are you going to do with that information? And so we had already sunk in 2.5, 3 years of development into the game before I started ads. My wife is the artist. She spent a lot of time making, like, drawing, illustrating, setting the art direction. Art direction is like a lot of freaking work, like making sure everything's dialed. I spent a lot of time playtesting and doing all this work. And then came to this point of like, okay, we've got to start the ads. And I kind of told her, I was like, look, I encounter this all the time with all of our clients. You could have the best look, like you could think that your game is like this great winner, and you launch the ads and it's not what you think it is. And it could be I have good intuition that this is probably going to be a hit, but there's always a chance that it's not. And we will know after we spend like about $1,000 and spend, maybe even 500. Like I could just tell. Like I could see the numbers and we'll see where it goes. If this doesn't look like it's a big hit, I don't think it's worth our time to continue moving forward with this, because it really isn't. Like we have a newborn, we have another kid, we have other things to kind of take care of. But if things are looking really good, then we can move forward. And so we launched our ads and it was a hit. Like we knew, like from the beginning, I was like, oh, these are looking it's looking really good. We'll see how long we can push this for. And so we pushed it. By the time we got to a place where we were about to launch, I knew that it was going to be a relatively good launch. So we pressed that, and it did well. Now it's always like nerve wracking. I didn't realize, like, I've done this so many times, but when it's your own project, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
come on. It's always nerve wracking, but there was a good amount of confidence of like, yeah, this is probably going to do well. But it's also hard to check my own emotions and be like,
So in the campaign, where are you guys in the campaign right now? You're nearing the end of it?
So we're in late pledge right now. We already started manufacturing. So we made a
Oh
promise.
wow.
Yeah, we launched in May, like mid-May. We finished in June. And in that process, I had a bunch of people message me. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this as a gift." We had a lot of people that had never done a Kickstarter before.
Because it's a hummingbird.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah,
birds
birders.
are a thing.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. So I
Just
knew
ask
birds,
Elizabeth.
like, yeah, I think like there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, my grandmother loves hummingbirds." I was like, "Oh gosh." Like, this is a Kickstarter. Do you know what Kickstarter? Do you understand the risk you're taking here of like how long this might take you to get this product? And they're like, I'm going to buy it.
Grandma
as a
might not
gift
be alive.
order. And I'm like, shoot, need to like move. And so there's enough people messaging me saying this is going to be a gift, and I'm like, all right. I kind of caved. I was like, Christmas delivery, and that was a bad decision. Don't do that, because it was supposed to be like February, and that would have given us enough time to really take our time with it. But once I said that, and I told my wife, she's like, we were supposed to be on vacation at that time, and she's like, well, there goes our vacation, because then we started working really hard on finalizing all our manufacturing files while the campaign was starting. So got that whole process essentially finished. We put in our deposit already. We already started the process. We are slated to deliver by Christmas, at least with the U.S. backers and maybe Canadian backers. We'll see. But yeah, that was a process. Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that.
No. Yeah, I mean, in general, everybody out there, like, under promise, over deliver is the way to people's hearts to build a brand, really. But also, like, Christmas is fraught. It's just like things can happen, weather changes, But in general, don't push your timelines as too tight, because you can. Yeah, you're just gonna, like, any little problem can throw you off. But I mean, fingers crossed this goes well for you, because there's like over 6,000 people backing. And when hey, that's a good question. If you were past Victor, like 12 months ago, Victor, and you were looking at the numbers and the data that you had, would you have predicted 6,000, 7,000 backers based on the data that you had initially when you started?
Based off the data that I had before I launched, yes.
Good. So your data is fairly predictive in the modeling that you're using. Are you using a model or something to crunch numbers to help you?
We have like a little calculator to kind of calculate that, and then kind of, what our system allows, especially the reservation funnel, is it gives you your return on ad spend in pre-launch. That return on ad spend stays pretty consistent even when you go into your live campaign, and so it stayed consistent.
Yeah, can you explain to everybody what that actually means in numbers? Like, if you spend this much money, what are you getting out of it?
Okay, so return on ad spend, multiplier on your ad spend, that's how much you're going to make. I was projecting, I think, about a 4x return on ad spend overall. And that's how much I kind of generated. I think I actually landed, it was like 3.75, I think was like kind of the total, like how much I spent versus how much I made. I spent about 6 figures, a little over 6 figures on the campaign and advertising alone. That generated what I have generated, which is about $490,000 right now. That number could have been higher if I had priced myself higher. So I had it at $39.69.89. If I had one $39.69.99, it probably would be over 500. If I had another tier at $149 or something, it would have been a lot higher. And so that's another thing to keep in mind, is that average order value. But yeah, in terms of return on ad spend, that is kind of the multiplier that we got. Now, some people get really lucky; they hit the lottery,
Yeah.
get like stupid high, like 6x, 7x, 10x. 10x is insane. 10x is like, oh my gosh, that's like
Yeah.
you
Had that
touch
happen?
gold. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen very often. We've seen it happen. It doesn't happen
Right.
very often. But something that's more realistic is something around that 3 to 4x.
Right.
And your ad spend, it's not something that you like firm up before you launch. It's something that's you're adjusting to what you're seeing, right? So you wasn't
Exactly.
like, I have 6 figures, I'm going to put this in regardless. It was, hey, we're seeing the numbers coming back, we're getting a 4x
We're
return.
gonna pump some
Let's
more in.
let's keep
Exactly.
going.
Like when I first started tests, I was like, cool, let's put in like $80 a day in total and let's see how that goes. And it's like, oh cool, things are going on. Let's increase that. And eventually got to a place where we're spending, $100 a day, it's $200 a day, $300 a day. And then by the time we get to a live campaign, we're spending $1,000 a day.
Right.
And so, but I wouldn't do that if the numbers were saying that you weren't getting a return. If it was like
Right.
suddenly a tank to like a 2x, 1.5x return, I'd be like, okay, let's pull that back.
Pull back. Yeah. So how are you calculating what is the return you're getting? Because if the campaign's not running, what are you seeing as a metric that says, oh, I'm getting my value for that ad?
Um, like, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Well,
Before the
so
campaign launches, so as you're still building your email list, like you just have your $1 reservations, I guess, giving a sense of what your thing could be. Like, you're not seeing the Kickstarter numbers climb up and up and up and say, oh, actually I've raised 100,000, so I'm going to take 10,
No,
15% of that and reinvest it. So prior to that.
yeah, so during that pre-launch process, dollar reservation. The cost per reservation is our benchmark, is our metric to measure that. That gives
right.
us a fairly accurate read on conversion rate, which we can
Hmm.
then use to predict the to use that to predict our like what we might raise based off of our reservation amounts. And we
Hmm.
also calculate kind of the lift. We call it the organic lift, but it's just like an overall lift that comes from Kickstarter or just from other sources. Like that includes your emails
Yeah.
as well. That kind of adds to that total value. And then we use that to then calculate your total return on ad spend from your pre-launch, and then that gives us your predictive analytics.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. And so, using your own campaign as a case study, um, your analytics and your predictive models afford Launchboom the ability to kind of guide the creator or the publisher in telling them like basically how much to invest in this process because of the return that they're getting, and like
Mhm.
when to kind of say you should fold now. It's like poker. It's like or
Yeah,
blackjack. It's like how many times you're going to hit before you bust. And so this is giving people a little bit more insight through tracking all of that kind of data. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
exactly, exactly.
And can I ask, what is the general conversion rate from the $1 reservations? Is it like 60%, 80%,
So
something like that?
technically, usually it's about 35 to 45.
Percent. That's
That's
actually not
the
bad, really.
Yeah, so then that's what we typically see, and that's like the average amount. Like
Hmm.
on average, it's probably around 40. Um, Now, when you go into these larger campaigns, like Kelp, for instance, Kelp I think had something around like a 50%. Crooked Moon had something around there as well. What was it? Neon Odyssey had a stupid one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's like for the most part 35 to 45. Now, we don't use the higher numbers to into
No.
like, those are the outliers.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's usually what we get.
And so are
Um,
the lower numbers, to be honest, right? That's
yeah,
like,
and so we generally, let's see, the numbers do fluctuate on price points. So we've had a few large like $300 games. Those convert at a lower rate. So I think those convert like 25 to 35 kind of
right.
amounts.
Which is hilarious because I worked on Evantris Legend, A Crooked Moon, and that thing was insanely priced. It was huge. I got like 3 boxes that were bigger than my body
Oh my gosh.
coming to my house as the
So
one of
good.
the writers box. But it was and then the neon one was just even bigger. So yeah, there are definitely some outliers, but it's funny because I mean, just talking about those two groups, those two products, they are created by um, people who are doing like actual play. So they have a community engaged already. They have people, who watch them religiously for like 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours a week, every week because they're creating content. So they have this
They have a
buy-in
yeah,
already. Oh, they have a community, right?
yeah,
So that's definitely a weird case. And so yeah, it's an outlier when you're
yeah.
saying like 50-55% conversion.
It's
That's
definitely an outlier. Now, funny thing about Adventures, when we first started working with them, they didn't have that large of a following. I mean, they had a
mm,
decent following. I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
say it
yeah.
wasn't like significant, but it was like very few people knew about. Like, there's not a lot of people that knew about them at that time. So there
Yeah,
was like
outside
this
of
nice,
their core audience, right?
yeah. And so like after that, it's like exploded. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting hit their shorts right now every single like minute. But that was really cool to see. But they did put in a lot of work
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of like that. It was like cool. People were like, "Oh, like overnight success." I was like, "No, these guys have been working on this channel for like 10 years."
Yeah, and they
It was
put
like
in so
a
much
really
work,
long
and
time.
they have a very good sense of what they wanted that product to be. I know because I have the Bible, like I have the book, not the book that we produced, but like the book about the world before the real
Good.
book ever came out, right?
That's
And
so
it's like there's
cool.
so much thought that goes into it, in the world building and the characters and the life behind the game because they played in this world for years, and then
Yeah,
we just bring it to customers so customers can play into that world as well. So it's just fascinating that there is, you're going to get those outliers when you bring your own community plus 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 to the things that Launchboom can do, to the things that just and so their lift is probably a bigger chunk of
yeah.
what you're looking at than
The other
because
thing that
there's
I
some
would
organic
say, like
stuff.
with that, like specifically with Adventures and like anyone with a following, like a social media following, there's a chance that that following may not be interested in your product that you
Also, yeah,
developed.
always.
So this helps measure that too. Be like,
Mm.
hey, can you like we just made this thing? You want to get in? And you see that huge like people are like, yeah, that's great. Then cool. You at least know that your following will like latch onto it. But if you don't see that, then yeah, kind of rethink about like what actually resonates with your
That's
following in that
interesting.
way.
Have you ever seen anybody like stall their campaign or put it off because of the results they got back that weren't jiving with how they felt about their own product?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We've actually had a few. We've even
that's good
had
to know.
Yeah, we've had people pivot and like change ways how they pitch the game. Like we had one client who wasn't getting good results from the beginning, and I were like, "Hey, this is what the results are saying." At least with crowdfunding, it's like, "Okay, cool. Let me take this. Let me see if I could pitch it to publishers, and then I'll let me focus on this other product. Let's try that." The other product that he
Yeah,
launched did great, 6-figure campaign. The game that wasn't doing well on like with the crowdfunding and like marketing that we were trying to do,
yeah,
sold to a publisher,
yeah.
doing great.
Win-win,
So
win-win, win-win.
there's other ways besides crowdfunding to break into it. This is just one way to measure the crowdfunding market.
But I really think that's an interesting use of analytics and data to kind of be a predictive model of what might be successful, where you should pull the trigger, where you might want to step back and reevaluate. And that's where I think it's super valuable. And I would hope that if you're out there listening and you were like one of the people who kind of balked at, giving $1 to get something just for your email, because you might have, this is too good to be true, or I don't want to give up my personal information. You give your personal information anyway when you actually do the campaign. This is just like 2 months ahead. Is there a difference? I don't know. It might feel like there's some people, but this is why it's done, right? It's kind of, we're pulling back the curtain a little bit and letting people know that it's done for a reason, and it's not just to get your money. It's to make the campaign as successful as possible and to give you, the customers, what you want. Really, in the end, like if something is looking like it's not meeting the customer's needs, well, everybody's just going to get disappointed. Like specifically that guy, that one designer who took the game off Kickstarter or didn't even run it, never was on Kickstarter, said, "I'm just going to pitch this to a publisher who can handle it better than I can." There's probably thousands of people who are very happy with that game right now, but I bet you there'd only be like 300 very disappointed people if that game actually went through Kickstarter, because when you don't get the groundswell that you need to elevate the product up as an individual, like small publisher of your self-publishing, like you can't do the metal coins and you can't do the things that make it satisfying to a lot of people out there who are used to Kickstarter games looking and feeling a certain way, right? So
100%.
anyways, analytics
Oh,
are
that's
good.
great.
More data is a good thing, as long as you can interpret it, right? So
Yeah, and that's the big thing is that you can get all this data, and it could just be vanity metrics until you can figure out a way to like actually
funded in
quantify
1
it.
minute.
Yeah, it's like I got people coming to me, they're like, "Oh, my cost per click is amazing! Like, I got this." I was like, "Dude, yeah, but I've seen cost per clicks that cost like a cent, and they lead to nothing. They're all fake."
Well, that's it, right? I mean, can you explain what cost per click means to the audience, and
Oh yeah.
then tell us
So
why?
when you're running like meta ads or any paid media for social media, a lot of one metric that some people look at is a cost per click. But the way that this works is that when you're like Meta, for instance, you're paying Meta for impressions. Like for each 1,000 impressions, they're going to charge you $10, $15, whatever. How many of so that's what you're paying them. How many of those people click? You take the number of clicks, you take the number that you spend, you divide by the number of clicks, you have your cost per click.
Right.
So that's what your cost per click is. The issue there is we don't know if those clicks are just people clicking. Like there are people that just like to click for no reason.
Anything.
Like anything. They're just like, oh, go click. And it's like, I clicked and then go back. And we see a lot of that. There are even people that are willing to, like I mentioned, like they give emails. They're just like, email, here you go. All right, cool, bye. And that happens. So we need to find a way to quantify like the money that you're giving Facebook. Is it giving you money back?
Right.
That's the whole point of the ad.
Yeah, I mean, so many people have like burner emails that they just put in for anything they want to sign up for that they don't really actually care about, right?
Hilarious. I had a backer. His email was like spam email at Gmail. He's like, "Hey, I backed your campaign. Can you like just check on this?" And I'm like, "What's your email?" And I looked up his thing. And I'm like, "Do you give me your burner email? You paid me like $89. Like, I don't understand."
Yeah. I mean, maybe he did, and then it went to the burner account, right? And he doesn't check it often because it's like that's where my burner stuff goes. People are funny, and I get it. You know, you want to kind of sort the email and the wheat from the chaff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, if you're not managing your own emails, what are you even doing? Says the guy. Let's take a look. Let's take a look right now. Let's see how many unread emails do I have on Gmail. I have.
What's the number?
Oh, that's not too bad. 468. That's
not bad at all.
I at one point had 1,337, so it was like leet. And because I'm I'm a Gen X, leet means something to me, so I kept it there forever. It's like I'm just gonna read it and not read things like it has to stay at 1,337 for the rest of my life. And then for some reason I said I have too many emails. I got to get rid of them.
I think there was one time I had an inbox with 10,000 unread emails, and I
like that's reasonable. I'm at 4,975. So when Sen's like I'm in the hundreds, that's
so what you're telling me is that I'm 10 times better than you, Hafiz.
Yeah, the audience knew that before we even started the episode.
I mean, did they?
I think they did.
They know now. That's the important.
Now they know. We've admitted it. It's on the record. People can always come back to check this. We have a witness. They can always ask.
Right.
Witnesses online.
We asked you, is there anything that we should ask you when you're on today? And one of them was just about your company's name. So Ibis Tea. What is that? Where did that come from? What does that have to do with hummingbirds?
Okay.
Yeah, they're two totally different birds. They both have long snouts, but that's about it.
Yeah, one has a curved one, or one's this, or one's larger. It eats trash.
That's true.
Bin turkeys, right? Bin chickens. I don't know. That's okay. So Ibis. Oh my gosh, we were trying to figure out a name for a publishing company for a really long time. My wife and I went back and forth. She wanted something ridiculous. I wanted something a little bit more serious. And then if we can never figure something out, eventually we kind of talked about. We had this talk where we were talking about like what kind of games we wanted to make, and like we kind of wrote it down. We're like, okay, number one, like what we want from games that we play, we want them to be immersive. So we wrote it like immersive, and we're like, well, they have to be beautiful because I kind of like It's like I love like there are games that I love playing, but I'm like I can't stand looking at them sometimes. And so I was like, I really want
Mm.
it to be beautiful, and so we went beautiful. And then we put down intuitive as the next one, but I was like actually more of like interactive. Like we want player interaction. We didn't want to have games that were like playing solitaire with your friends. We want to gather people. We want to get to know them, talk with them, even if that means like you took my thing. No, no, go get him. Like we wanted a little bit more of that interact, like chaotic energy, whatever that energy of like, hey, we're here together, we're in person, let's interact. And now I was like, I want them to be strategic, so we kind of wrote that down. It's like Ibis. I was like, oh, that's a bird. That lines up with our bird game. There's a bird. It's a bird. We could do this. And I was like, Ibis Games, and then she kind of threw in this last thing. She's like, no, it has to be tactile. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, like it needs to be something that I like to fidget with. Like I
Oh, the
love
game itself. Sorry,
the
yes.
game itself has to be tactile.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah. I was like, what? She's like, I like playing Splendor because I like the chips. I just play with the chips. That's
Yeah,
it.
for sure. I like that too.
He's like, I hate playing it. Like, it's like that's the one reason why I like playing. I was like, oh, okay, okay. So that we put that there, and I was like, oh, that doesn't make a very good acronym. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then we're like, well, why don't we just make it like T? Like, and that's how we came up with Ibis T. We're like, well, it's ridiculous enough, but it has meaning behind it, so we're both happy. And then
As long as you
eventually
know
we
the
got to
meaning.
we're like, oh, here we go. And eventually we got to a place where we're like, okay, E could be something like educational or even like environmental, because like we like making like things that make people think about the earth, or about nature and stuff like that. And then A is like approachable. We definitely want games that were approachable for most people. We didn't want to make the super heavy stuff. There's plenty of heavy stuff out there, but we wanted to have more entry level stuff where people can learn it, where like my mom could learn it. Doesn't speak very good English, so it's like, cool, can we explain this to my mom, and can she play it? Can they explain to your mom, and can she play it? Can they enjoy it? Hover's not there yet for my mom. I haven't taught her yet, but we'll see. But like we wanted something where it is like on a more approachable side. So yeah, acronym that makes a good logo, or a fun logo at least, something that my wife is drawing. So that's, and has a bird on it. So bird.
Kismet. It was meant to be, especially for your first game being about hummingbirds. How did the game come to be? Like, how long have you been working on this, and why hummingbirds?
Yeah, so I was playing around with the idea of just making a game, and I was playing like doing a few things. And while I was making one game that was a terrible game, I was walking around my like apartment complex, and there's a lot of hummingbirds here, and they're attacking each other. They're like chasing each other, zipping around. They almost like stab me, because that's how like like, oh my gosh, full on aerial battles. And when I looked at that, I was like, that would make a fun game. I want to be like, that looks so fun. Went in, did more research on hummingbirds, found out it could be a lot of fun. Drafted up a little like board, did this thing, had some mechanics, wrote it down, and then put it on a piece of paper, tested it out. It was like 10 times better than another game I was working on. So we're like, okay, toss that to the side, work on this, see what we can do. And we just kind of workshopped it from there. So yeah, it was inspired by just looking at the hummingbirds. And then from there, we worked on it, it was like 2 years of like a lot of testing. And it started off like, yeah, it started off as like a King of the Hill kind of game. That didn't work out, because I was like, well, they fight for the feeder and they try to stick with it, but they had like a runaway situation with King of the Hill, like winners just keep winning kind of thing. So I was like, let's not do that. And I was like, well, what if they built the nest, did all this stuff, and then like, what if we introduced like asymmetrical powers, and what if we had these cards that we could play. Added a bunch of stuff, and then I was like, this is too much, and so we started taking away stuff like cut. And then there was these like exceptions that was stuff, and I tried to teach my game to my wife, and she's like, dude, your game's too complicated. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, it's so simple. And then she's like,
Does your wife call you dude?
Does she? Sometimes she does. Yeah, but she would tell me about the points of friction, about understanding the game. And then those are points where I was like, oh, okay, what if we just remove that? What if we just remove this one rule that's like, except for this? It'll just be like, no, just take that out and see what happened. And then they got better.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, let's do that more. One of the things that we had to really test was how the attack action worked, whether originally it was like a free action, all this stuff, and that was just so confusing for people. It's like, free action, is it free, or what does it do? And so eventually it just went like, okay, let's just simplify it. These are the actions you can take. Attack is one of them. This is how it works. And then Rook shopped it out. With the asymmetrical powers, we had like a bunch of birds. I had like two friends that I would like sit down and be like, okay, let's break this thing. And that was great because they found a lot of things to break. So we could get it down to a place where it was balanced on an asymmetrical level. So that was, yeah, it was some time. We learned a lot. I think the next game will probably be faster because
Sure.
there was a lot of things we were learning as we were making this.
Do you think you learned any game design stuff, or maybe not the actual design part, but like what people like and dislike by running or helping to run so many campaigns?
In terms of running the campaigns, I knew that the thing that sold the game the most is theme and art.
Yeah.
So we knew that those had to be really good. I knew that a hummingbird game would probably do well. I mean, you have Wingspan, so we knew the bird people like this. The thing that I was really concerned about was the fact that it's a brutal game.
Right.
Because a lot of tabletop gamers, they like the cozy, they like the solitaire, they like the Euros where you don't really talk to other people. There's very little player interaction, and this was something where it's just like, okay, yeah, let's take that. There's definitely take that in this. And so initially there like even amongst playtesting groups, I was getting feedback like, they're like, I hate this game, like I can't. And I was like, okay, like it's not for you. Then other people are like, I love this. But yeah, I knew that was the main thing that I had a concern about. It's like my target demographic are people that like birds, people that it's 100% going to be compared to Wingspan. People that like Wingspan is not this game. This is like almost the opposite of Wingspan. And people that like birds, they like watching birds and are generally on the cozier side. So they might not like the brutality of this. And that was my big concern of it.
Right.
But people that like hummingbirds and know about hummingbirds will know that they're brutal. People that study birds, not just watch them, will know that birds are like some of the most aggressive creatures out there. Like they're like super aggro. Like, you hear those beautiful songs in the morning, that's like, come at me, bro.
Those aren't hummingbirds either, right? So.
Yeah, those are like those like songs are war songs or like war cries or like very, very like horny cries.
Fight or F. One of the Fs. One of the Fs.
One of the Fs.
Very cool. So, what's the hope? Are you like pivoting away from Launchboom and going to be like, I'm just going to publish games, or are you going to do both? Or
we'll see where things go. Launchboom is great. I love working at Launchboom. I love the people at Launchboom. Honestly, the most. Like, I love my team. I love my business partners. Like, everyone there, just amazing to work with. Just genuinely good people. And I wouldn't give it up for the world. Like, it's great. And it's also paying my bills, so that's also very helpful.
That's an important thing. That's an important thing. You got dependents now. You have 2 kids.
Yeah, 2 dependents. And yeah, I'm not where you are, Sen. You know, where they're out of the house. You know, they're
not quite out of the house yet. They came back.
Got like 2 weeks left before you're booting one out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hoping that the other one hears back from the other universities in the UK, so he can go live his best life in the UK.
Stay there.
I love him, but I love them both. But I would also like them outside of the house sometimes.
Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, got the support, but yeah, we'll see. The thing is, just because you have a successful Kickstarter campaign doesn't mean you have a successful business yet.
Right.
We'll have to see how that scales. We are, after this, enter e-commerce, go into Amazon, see if we can get distributors, in talks with a few. We'll see how those go.
Yeah.
See if we can sell this. See if it becomes an evergreen game or not. And if it's not, it's fine. Whatever. We have another game in the works right now because we're like, it would be such a waste to learn all this and not apply it to something else and be more efficient.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is, the very true fact is that distributors like it when you have several SKUs, because then they can dedicate like a portion of a pallet to all your things, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to you have one thing. I don't want to deal with one thing.
Can we get the inside scoop on what the next game is going to be about?
Ooh,
Oh,
It's okay if you can't.
well, is another nature theme game.
cool.
Do you guys know what siphonophores are?
Siphonophores? No.
All right.
How do you
We
spell
had
it?
someone talking about paradoxides the other day, so like where this is like now our thing. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna get
Weird
nature
animals.
themes.
Weird animals.
Yeah. So siphonophores, SIPHONO.
Oh, so okay, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they are weird, very weird creatures. They are not single organisms, but
Yeah.
they're like a colony, but not really. They're weird. And they're deep sea ish.
Okay, that makes sense. So like filtering water.
Yeah, they eat a lot of plankton, and then
Yeah.
there's also a fun thing about planktons. They plankton are responsible for the largest animal migration on Earth. It happens
Yeah.
every night. The dial migration. We wanted to have people play around with that.
Yeah.
So those are the two hints: siphonophores and plankton. The dial migration of plankton.
So we're basically gonna have like SpongeBob SquarePants, the game.
Oh yeah, 100% SpongeBob.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's
100% SpongeBob. You heard it here first, everybody. Ibis T licensed SpongeBob from Nickelodeon to make a game about siphonophores. There you go.
There we go.
That'd be fun. Very cool, very cool. All right, so we are running out of time. And at the end of the show, like every other show, we ask you to give us a piece of advice. So, what is the advice that you would give to somebody? It doesn't have to be about games, but given your job, it probably is. But what is one piece of advice you'd give to somebody?
Give just like anything, any piece of advice.
It could be any piece of advice. Like I said, most people give game advice because it's a game show, but you could give any advice that you want, and we would accept
Oh
it.
my god!
Maybe, I guess.
I need to. I know you guys told me about this. I still need to think about this. Let's see. I think. All right. This is just what's going on in my life right now.
Sure.
There are different seasons in life that require different things and come out with different things. Don't stress if your current season of life isn't fitting what you want it to be. Just kind of let it be and understand that this will also pass and something new will come. Yeah, that's what I'm going through right now. So take that as you would. And
Perfect.
we'll see.
It's the kind of philosophical advice that the show strives for, in which we will judge future guests on what they say. Sen did this to me on my first episode here. He's like, hey, this is a new host. We're going to ask him for advice. And he didn't pre-warn me that I was going to be giving advice. No, you did. I was just bad at remembering. And I gave something kind of weird and tepid. So that was fantastic.
That was way better than Hafiz, is all he's saying. Yes.
Yeah. Low bar, but still.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Victor, for being on the show. We appreciate having you here, talking about Ibis T games, the game Hover, which is in late funding or pledge management right now. So get in while you can. And then also talking about Launchboom and all the interesting things that you're able to do with analytics to help creators have as successful a run as possible, which is what we want for everybody, right? All right. So if you want to chat more with me, you can reach me at Blue Sky at Senfeng Lim. Hafiz, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at PrintRink Games. And how about you, Victor?
You can find me on Instagram, ibis.t. You can also find Launchboom by just Googling Launchboom. That's like a rocket launch and then boom.
Right. And ibist.games.com will take you to the Kickstarter, right?
It's actually ibist.com. Should be fine. It's okay. I'm not sure if I have Ibis.
No, I am changing it. I am changing it right now.
I will need to buy that if I don't have that already.
Ibist.com? Okay.
Yeah, ibist.com should redirect you there, I think.
Okay, we think.
It will be live.
And obviously, yes, and obviously launchboom.com. Boom.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. 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 Hey, Hafiz, who's going to be on the show in the next couple of weeks? And we just have some scheduling stuff we need to announce, right? So there's some days that we're not going to be around.
Yeah, so we're mid-September onwards. We're going to be taking a bit of a break till mid-October. But next week, we got some really great guests. Next week, we have Wendy and Bod, who are Canadian game designers. They're actually part of Launchboom system right now. And their son created a game, and so they wanted to bring his game to life. So we're going to hear about their story. We have Steven, who's going to be joining from Deckhand Games. So how do you design a game that fits with a 52-card deck of cards? We have Joe Slack, who's going to be joining us again after Protospiel to talk about Protospiel and how it's evolved and cool things he's seeing, and then his upcoming game, Diamond Heist. We were talking to Judson from Tenix Games. He's in Scotland, so it's like 3 a.m. if we want to do it with him. So we'll try and figure something out on that end. But he's very cool, and he's got a new game coming up. He's the one that did Deep Regrets, and he's got another upcoming game. And the trailer for Deep Regrets, for anyone watching, go Google that. It's one of the coolest game trailers you'll ever see.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And then didn't we send out some email today to somebody else? There's somebody else. Anyways, there's lots of people coming up, everybody. So be prepared for some cool stuff. Just remember that
Jason Tagmeyer from Button Shy Games. There we go.
Oh, yeah, because it's when you said Steven Sauer, it's like, oh yeah, there's also another like 18
another S in there. Yeah.
Type thing going on. And we won't be here in early September. Just because travel and first day of school for me, and then later on because Hafiz decided to go on vacation. So
Hafiz, come on.
I know, right? I have to do it for the both of us, Victor. You tell your wife I'm taking the hit.
All right, I'll let her know.
Yes, yeah, because you lost your vacation because you pushed up your timelines. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you got to beat Chinese New Year. You have to beat Chinese New Year, otherwise you're behind the 8 ball again. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you here next week, same time, same place, and then not the week after, though. So the second, yes. Everything after, no. Well, not everything, but week after, no.